confirmed.
07 and welcome, Commanders, to Frameshift Live, episode 26.
26.
I am Arthur, one of the hosts. I'm also sometimes double as a moon in the game. My head does, at least. And I'm joined by the wonderful, delightful Sally Morgan.
Hello.
Welcome, Sally.
Thank you.
So this is your first time joining us on Frameshift Live and you don't know what the show's about. Well, we'll give you a brief rundown. So it's our bi-weekly show where we talk about all things Elite Dangerous. So it'll be the news in the game, the news from the development team. We'll go through community news, Galnet news, lots of news. News. We do screenshots, and this week we have a guest.
We do. We have the delightful Tom Kuehl, who a lot of you love already. It's not Darren. Surprise.
It's not Darren. No. It's not Darren.
Yeah.
So Tom is always in a pair of shorts. I've noticed this.
Is he in shorts today?
He is in shorts today.
It'd be weird if he wore jeans.
There's two things about Tom. He always wears shorts and he always eats something sweet. He's always got like a chocolate in his hand.
Yeah.
I've never seen him eat actual dinner. He's always just got a plate full of snacks. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you're watching us, we also give away Twitch drops, don't we, Sally?
We do, and we have some news on Twitch drops actually. So those of you who are familiar with the purple Twitch drops, we're trying something new. So timings for these, you will now be able to collect all of the purple Twitch drops that are on offer in just 45 minutes of viewing the live stream. So they're going to be given away in sets of 2, if I can just get my notes to be.
Now we've changed the timing predominantly to stop Bruce getting this wrong. So this is very easy.
Try again, eh?
He'll get it wrong anyway.
The last time wasn't really working out for any of us, so we may as well, start afresh because that wasn't sticking.
It wasn't. We tried.
Yeah.
We tried. We couldn't do it.
So for 15 minutes of viewing time, you'll be able to get the Ancestral Tattoo Pack and the Purple Flight Suit. So that's 15 minutes. And then you'll get the Explorer Nameplate Pack and the Purple SRV and Fighters dropped at 20 minutes. And then you'll get the Passenger Nameplate Pack and Purple Weapon and Engine Trails. That'll be dropped at 30. And then the Wings Name Pack, Vibrant Purple Paint Jobs dropped at 45 minutes.
So essentially, watch for 45 minutes and get everything purple.
Yes.
It belongs to you. And that's the Twitch campaign. That's a welcome pack. So that lasts for 28 days.
Yeah.
So essentially, we stream once every 2 weeks, right? And we stream roughly for about 3.5, 4 hours in those sort of 4 weeks. So you only need to watch for 45 minutes within that 28 days and you'll learn all of those things. Now, the 28-day system, we say this every time, and I'm sorry if you've heard this a bazillion times, but it's a bazillion and one. It's down to how Twitch runs. So it's a 28-day campaign, so we can't change that. So sadly, if you do join us for the second stream of the month, and you only get, say, 35 minutes in, then you'll get most of it, but you won't get all of it, and then you'll have to restart again.
Yeah.
But we don't just give away those Twitch drops, do we?
There's more.
There's more.
This week we have some new ones again. These are the seasonal paint jobs. We're still in winter, although we are coming up to, obviously it's still...
Someone's asking for a Monkey Island t-shirt, and I'm just nodding.
Absolutely. The truck, isn't it? Do you hear that then? I'm just like, the truck. And then I just don't say anything else. The paint jobs. So, Adam, what can we win? Can't win anything. You can have these for free.
There we go.
Yes, these are the Blizzard the Blizzard Hearth. This is for the Anaconda, which you'll earn after 15 minutes.
Is that you say it? Hearth? I've always wanted how to say that word. I'm not saying you're wrong. I have no idea how to pronounce that word, so I'm glad you've taken it.
No, I'm worried that
we're just saying that it's our paint job. We can say we can call it. We call it what we want.
Do you want to say Hearth?
It's like naming your kids. We can say what we want. I was going to say Hearth, but I don't know.
Yes. Says Lake Shade, Dark Shade even. And then that's the Anaconda, and then the Asp did flick up then, didn't it, Adam? Sorry, I was a bit behind. And there's the Asp Explorer.
There we go. So and that's just 15 minutes to watch, and you'll earn those. So that's what you'll get for just joining the stream.
Someone says it's half. I mean, if you want to say half. Half. So your name is Half, so you can remember it in that way.
Thank you, stream.
Speaking of stream, though, we haven't said hi.
No, I just realised that, and I was like, we haven't said any 07s before we get to the next set of drops.
No.
So 07 to people in the chat. Do you want to take a few, and I'll take a few?
Yeah. I can see Osric, I can see Wardroid 303, I can see no one now.
It's going very fast now.
Help me.
No, I'm going to let you. I'm going to let you dangle
really
for a
not.
bit.
Quill One Key. I think I might be adding like 2 together here. Jet.
Wow, even I can't read this.
No
And I'm
royalty?
looking at. Oh wow, Troubled Artist, Egg Star Commander, Alec Turner, I see Alec Turner, Hey Wizards, Corey Celesti, Azrael, Jeff the Heathen, love that. MJ, Matt Moggs.
Battle Vortex 07 of actually Elfin Nog.
ZX Specky, Raven,
Epaphras
Medevov.
UK.
Yeah. Angeles Pony, if I'm getting your names wrong, by the way,
Picking
chat,
the hardest
I'm
ones
so
to,
wrong. Giving it a try, love it. Tom the Casual Gamer, friends of Giving It a Try, I'm assuming.
Tony the Tiger 954.
He's great.
He's great, isn't he?
Fun fact, when I was at school, I was a voiceover for one of the ads for that.
Really?
Wasn't
Is
just
that on
me.
your IMDb as well?
It's not my IMDb, no. It was a
fair
group of
enough.
kids was asked to make the Tony the Tiger roar.
Yeah.
And we were an advert for about, in 1932. It was 1980 something, we were an advert. There you go.
Fine.
So 07 to everyone
Yes.
that's joined us. We can see the chat. It does move pretty fast. There's a lot of you in here, but we can see both YouTube and we can see Twitch. So if you are there, hearty 07s from Sally and I. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. It's always great to have you. But I guess back to giving more stuff to you and more ways for you to earn stuff in the game for nothing.
Nice one. So also, last week we announced new Twitch partners, didn't we?
Was it last
Twitch
week?
partners?
Last week or 2 weeks ago?
Twitch drops for Elite Dangerous Partner. No,
The
Elite Partner Program.
There we go. EPP.
New partners, the EPP. Welcome. Yes, we have just hit our new roster. Who give away these paint jobs just for you viewing their streams.
The Blizzard Star.
Yes, the Blizzard Star paint jobs. So you can earn these just by watching our Elite Dangerous Partners, who you can see the full roster of on the website, but I believe we also have a list of them here too. And here they are, our new Elite Dangerous Partners.
Is that everyone?
That's this round.
That's this round. Okay, these are the late. So welcome to Elite Partner Program. You can earn those Twitch shots simply watching their streams, and obviously all of those wonderful individuals will be making you aware that they are doing streams with drops active. So keep an eye, give them a follow on their socials, support the channels, help them grow, help spread the love for Elite Dangerous.
Yeah.
Now, am I right in saying that one of those Twitch drops is actually?
Absolutely, that's the exciting part.
Here we go. I'm going to ruin it, Sally. You take it. I think it's is it the Cobra?
It is the Cobra.
So the
best
Cobra.
one, yeah.
It's okay. The Cobra Mark 3, 4, 3.
3, Arthur.
I like to tease. The Cobra Mark III paint job is available to anybody that is streaming Elite Dangerous. So if you just want to add drops to your channel and you're streaming Elite Dangerous, you absolutely can. And obviously, we encourage you to do that because we want to spread the love for Elite Dangerous. Lots of things happening this year, lots of things still to come this year, and it's all going to get very, very exciting. So welcome to the new partner program attendees. I don't know what it is.
I like the word
family roster.
I do like the roster.
Yeah, the roster.
If you don't know what the Elite Dangerous Partner Program is, you can become a member of the program by hitting certain criteria for making content, how often you stream, and so on. And for doing so, you have content and channel promotion from our channels, so from the Elite Dangerous official channels, Twitch drops of your own that we've covered already, and Elite Partner Program merchandise. I don't know if we have a link to the articles on news. If we don't, no worries. But you can head over to the Elite Dangerous news site, and we do have the official post there and a link to how you can read more about the program. We do have some updated news, don't we, Arthur, on YouTube?
Yes.
Creators.
So one of the things the influencer team, and a big shout out to the influencer team because they're a wonderful group of human beings that are working really, really hard to make this happen. We're only on our second intake, right?
Yes.
So that we're carrying on growing this roster as we go along, and obviously it's something that's relatively new. So we've taken some feedback on board already about the Twitch drop. So now there's a Twitch drop for everybody to give out, and then we're looking at who we're bringing in now. Predominantly, obviously, the support we can give. A lot of it is skewed towards Twitch, not because we don't or we dislike YouTube. It's just it's very hard for us to give stuff away for YouTube to actually work. Like, we can't do drops on YouTube; it doesn't exist. So, but we do want YouTubers in the program. So we're taking some feedback on board about the criteria for YouTubers, and the team are busy at the moment assessing sort of how we look at that criteria for anyone that uses YouTube as a platform to celebrate Elite Dangerous. When we get nearer the next intake, which I believe is in April, we'll be announcing sort of the criteria for that, so you can have a look-see. But basically, just keeping on with Elite Dangerous. Like I say, we aim to keep increasing this roster. It is something. There's only a few companies sort of do this. So and obviously, Little Old Elite, we're trying. We're doing our very best to make this work, and the team behind it are really passionate, and they're really cool at supporting all of you. So keep an eye in April and have a look at how we're reassessing for our YouTube content creators.
But thank you for your feedback. Like, the influencer team are listening to you, and however we can balance it best across all platforms. They're on it, aren't they? Like, we're not the experts on this. They are absolutely brilliant. Yeah,
so. full all the love to Kat and to Nathan and to Holly, because they do a really good job, and a lot of time it's behind the scenes, and you don't really hear of them, but they are doing a grand job, and we couldn't do it without them. So thank you to everyone. Yeah.
Speaking of Little Old Elite, and you said old. Well, I don't mean this in like an old negative way, but there was a birthday this week.
There was a 10-year birthday, Sally.
Happy birthday to
Lave Radio. I don't know why I do like that. Lave Radio. Happy birthday. Wonderful 10 years, starting in the Kickstarter period of Elite Dangerous. Still going.
As passionate as ever.
They're a very wonderful bunch of human beings, and I was very lucky to join them on the 10th show. Sally did a wonderful, and I believe you actually played the piano.
I was playing the piano while I was talking.
Played the piano and wished them happy birthday, sent her a message. I joined them on the show. They are a wonderful snapshot of our community. They are passionate, they are funny, they are talented, they're creative, they're eclectic, and they keep going. So all the love to Lave, and keep on doing what you do. It was a real pleasure to be on your 10-year anniversary show. So thank you for having us, and keep going. More to come.
More to come. There's more to come in the stream.
Like it. I like it. I've got to hit this table because it's making a lovely little ringing noise. It's a ringing noise.
The barman's not going to be very happy with you.
No, producer Adam's getting very upset.
We should probably delve into actual news.
Actual news. All right. So, do you want to take on this BGS stuff from last week?
Yeah. So, what are we going to look at first? We are going to look at forum stuff. So, last week we addressed a couple of things like issue tracker tickets that were getting closed off, and to make sure the communication got across everybody, so you're not just going to issue tracker and going, why is this closed? You know, keeping that whole transparency thing going. There were a couple of these that we'd like to just mention here on the show today. So there was the issue on issue tracker that was a concern over the tick and it being inconsistent across systems. So you'd have the tick happening at different times, and it's people were a bit like, hey, can we sync this up a bit more? You know, you can, and it's right to cause a little bit of confusion because the way the background sim is
there's a lot of stuff going on back there. Is a
monster, and even when every single time I try and figure it out, it just doesn't. It's so hard to stick in your head, isn't it? Just what's going on.
Most things are hard to stick in my head, Sally, but the BGS it's a complicated animal. When I first came on board and I said, look, we're aware of people talking about the BGS, but it's not a simple.
No.
It's not really isn't as easy as like flick the fix it button. Doesn't quite happen that way with BGS stuff.
So the devs were amazing, and they actually wrote out so that they didn't have to rely on me translating anything. They wrote out an actual statement for you on the reason for the BGS. Not, this issue tracker ticket is going to close. I can read a little bit, but we do. Do you have a link, Adam, to where that article is? He might do. Yes, he does. Lovely.
He's nodding.
So that's the forum post if you want the full spiel. But basically, due to the vastness of the data required to run the game simulations and the complexities of processing all of that information, the tick can take several hours to complete. A little bit like when the servers come back online.
Yes.
Not that they take a couple of hours, but
Yeah.
regions take a little hot minute to spool up and everything. It's a requirement for us that the game continues to be playable during this time, that any player actions are processed correctly and never wasted, and due to the variable length of the process, the system should output any completed information to anyone that's logged in as soon as it's ready. So when it's ready, it just goes. So that might not be all at the same time. And that's where this part comes in. This does have a slight downside in that there are opportunities for some game systems to receive updated data that appears to disagree temporarily with the existing data held by the game. This is either caused by the continued processing of a simulation or the flow of information through caches that are required for Elite to operate at this scale.
Now, that's a very succinct way of putting it, but even I would recommend reading the thread because it's very hard to follow. Essentially, a lot of stuff happens. We want people to carry on playing, so we can't turn it off and just turn it on when it's all aligned. So things come online at slightly different times, essentially, in Arthur's layman terms. But have a read of the post. It's far more informative than what I've just said.
But slightly easier things to talk about. Mission boards fixed. So yeah, there was around, thank goodness, there was an issue. It was around Christmas, wasn't it, actually?
Yep.
You were very patient. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for being patient.
Yeah, we had some mission boards problems with them, either just not being accessible, a bunch of things. But we did say in update 14?
14. Or was it 14?
It might have been. Not sure.
It was recent.
Around there, anyway. We said recent. We were.
What is time, Sally? What is time?
Right? We were making improvements to the issues, but that was improvements were made, and then we were going to monitor whether you were experiencing any further turbulence, and actually nothing really came back to us, and if you do experience any further, disruption with, is that a word? Disruption, that's the one, with mission boards, then just submit a new issue tracker ticket, post it on the forums, we'll pick it up. But so far, we're looking good. So that one's been closed off as well. What else in the forums? Thargoid War, thoughts and feedback. Bruce took to the forums for a second time.
Yep.
The first thread was ginormous. That was incredible. Your feedback was very gratefully received, and that all gets distributed in the background and talked about. And now there is a new thread in there, which is targeting the following for feedback. So it's very specific areas. Are you enjoying the Thargoid War? Are you motivated to engage in the gameplay associated with the war? Are you optimistic or pessimistic about humanity's chance to win? What do you think of the direction of the narratives? So we've already had a whole bunch of responses.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hot topic. I mean, look, we discussed this actually on Lave Radio. It's a really good read as well, actually. If you're just interested in just like the Thargoid War in general and just players' thoughts and feelings.
That was Siri.
Siri.
Siri doesn't understand.
Siri doesn't understand.
I do apologise. Well,
that's all right.
Thank you, Siri, for your contribution.
Siri. That's fine. It's a really good read. Have a look through it. The reason why we do these threads is essentially that this is not something we've ever tried to. I don't think. Well, we've never tried to do this ever. A simulated galactic war. Now, someone did say other games do this. I still don't believe any other game simulates with an AI, its own thinking AI, a galactic war.
Yeah.
With an alien species actively reacting to what players are doing. So we want your feedback to understand whether or not it feels fair, it's engaging for you, it's fun. And I'm honestly, because I do have skin in this game, I'm curious to see how you feel you're getting on, whether you think you have a chance, whether you think you can push back, whether you think you defend humanity, or whether you think the Thargoids are going to carry on pushing into the bubble and it's something you can stop. So yeah, have a look through that thread. It's really, really cool to read. Yeah. There's lots of passionate players in there, and it actually is a fun read. It's a really fun read. So have a look.
Thanks, Osric, for posting the link. That's awesome.
Some of the casual gamers said, we're doomed. More rescue missions. You're going to need them. You're going to need them.
Noted. But yeah, thank you again. And there's lots of people are just following the format of that thread, and it's really good. And the devs are so invested in that feedback as well. Like it's
Well,
hot topic.
Just to be clear, the devs asked for it, right? So the devs,
Absolutely, yeah, they did.
the
It
development
wasn't
team,
that wasn't our idea.
it's not like we just went out and said, you know what, hey, let's just ask the community.
No.
We're always listening, but the development team is super keen and they want to make sure it's the best experience for everybody. So they've asked us to go out and sort of put out this very direct questions, quite specific. It's not the urine bottle, it was apple juice. It was apple juice. Anyways, it's sterile. So anyways, so they've asked us these very specific questions. So that because we are still refining it, and we don't necessarily think we got it right first time or second time, but it's a war that's ongoing. And I said it last time. It's only really kicked off November last year, and we're only in, end of Feb this year.
I can't believe that. Yeah.
So we're only 4 months into a galactic war. This is very early doors, boys and girls. Who knows what happens next?
Yeah. Move on quickly.
Right.
Good. And then final stuff to sweep up in terms of issues. Those are the issues that closed and have been, filed around. There are still the key known issues. These then, and the ones that I'm about to talk about are not the only ones we're aware of. I always cover it with that caveat. We know, a lot of things that you're all passionate about us tackling, and we are, trust me, we're working through that. But there was a particularly big conversation around control systems and
pushing back against them and trying to retake them, right?
Yeah, and perhaps it's not displaying
as clearly as we would like it to be for you. Yeah.
Exactly. We did have confirmation from Dev that control systems are harder to push back. Like that is a rule of control systems. However, it clearly is causing some confusion in terms of the pushback bar and what percentage is pushed back in relation to how hard it is, and we are aware and the team are aware. So they're looking to add additional clarity to help with better representation of it in a pending update.
Yeah.
So as soon as that comes through, we'll add more on that.
We'll let you know. Yeah.
But again, that is from your feedback, and they are, they are listening, and it's like, how can the team? They're so on it right now. It's like, okay, this is causing confusion. How can we improve this? They already noted that you're finding it hard to, So really good. And then we've got reactivation missions. Settlements already powered on arrival. I haven't got any further updates on that just yet. I think I updated the forums with that, but just in case I didn't, there's no further update on that yet. But the team are aware and we're still looking into it. And a little trouble with Hero Ferrari and potentially some...
She's a pain.
Oh.
She's a pain.
What's that?
What's happened?
Nothing. That's
not sinister at all.
No. So Hero Ferrari has been a little bit troublesome with unlocking. We're looking into it, basically.
Yeah.
Still no news on that one.
I'm sure she's been a pain in the past as well.
She has, absolutely.
She's just plain hard to get.
She has been. And can I ask that if you do have any other issues with engineers right now, pop them in the forums, or if they are already in there, just... I know I shouldn't ask for tags, but I am quite interested in the engineers at the minute. So if there are any urgent questions on engineers and unlocking, just give me a little nudge.
Next.
That's it.
That's it for the in-game stuff. I saw a few people in chat asking about the BGS stuff, with you just coming in late, but it was addressed right at the start here. So there is a statement about it, about how the BGS tick will seem a little bit inconsistent just because of the nature of how the BGS works. But there is a thread on the forum, it's an answer on the forum, so please go and read that. It's far more detailed, but essentially a lot of stuff is processed in the background and it comes online when it's ready, so not all things are ready at the same time, which may make it look a bit weird. We understand it's a bit frustrating, but it is kind of the way the system has to work because we don't want to stop people playing the game, essentially. But have a look because there is a much better answer on the forum. All right, so are we moving on to...
Galnet, don't we?
Did we have a Super Cruise? There he is. I mean, he came in. I don't know if he's gone rogue. He's doing what he wants. Like he's now in control. I don't know what's
Listen to
happening
that.
anymore, but it's a great sting. Thank you,
Super
Toko, so for
cruises.
that sting. Right, so we're going to go
My
into.
mouth is dry, so you carry on.
Okay. Oh, all right.
this
Thank
one.
you. I'm gonna take this one. So it's this week in Galnet.
And last week too. I might have done these. These appear to have stemmed quite a distance.
It's some
Got
news
some
from
reading
Galnet.
to do. It's
am
some
I
news.
am I doing all of these? All right.
Well,
okay.
a few of them.
All right. So,
I need
so
a
on
rest.
the 7th of the 2nd, 7th of February. Right. Okay. All right. I've got this now, Sally. It's fine. Between the producer and the notes, I'm on chart. I've got it. Activists blame leaders for Thargoid war. So anti-authoritarian protesters have surged in the Alliance, Empire and Federated governments accused of responsibility for the Thargoid hostility. Vox Galactica's political correspondent Conrad Sterling published a special report saying the Xeno peace movement, which originally advocated diplomatic relations with the Thargoids, lost a lot of momentum following the arrival of the Maelstroms. But some former members are blaming Allied, Federal and Imperial leaders for allowing the war to escalate, with profits from corporate arms deals seen as a motive. Congressman and Sally's best friend, Dalton
Oh no! Yes.
has made no further statements on the Kingfisher tragedy, his spokesperson citing his focus was on other projects, Sally.
Yes, I made that bold, didn't I?
You did, you have made that bold yet. He was busy doing something else. He was just busy.
See, even that part of the Galnet was from the bottom of the sheet, but I thought it very, very.
You do
I
like.
thought that it should be bolded.
You do like Dalton Chase, don't you? Can
Yeah.
you scroll down for me so I can see the next news
I
item?
haven't bolded anything in this one.
Okay, fine. So then on the 9th of February, the Kumo crew rebuffed after anti-Xeno campaign. A successful initiative to hold the California Nebula against the Thargoid invader has succeeded, for now at least. Systems recently invaded by Thargoid fleets were protected by a militia organised by the Kumo Council, the criminal syndicate's ruling authority in the enclave. But an attempt to assume control of the region's ports has been surprisingly repelled by opponents of Delane. The Pegasi Sentinel reported on the situation. There can be no doubt that Archer and Delane takes the security of the California Nebula seriously. Many lives were saved thanks to its decisive actions. A Kumo crew anti-Xeno militia is already being considered for future Thargoid attacks.
You're reading these wonderfully.
Thank you. Do you want me to take the next one?
Yes.
All right. Now I'm going to. Oh, now I'm trying to remember what site it said. It's Aegis, because someone said Aegis, and they got very upset. Aegis? Aegis?
No,
What
it's
is it?
Aegis.
Aegis, right.
I've been saying Aegis in all of the meetings.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And then I found out, I think I was being subtly
Slap
hinted
on the
at.
wrist
Yeah,
for you,
yeah.
Sally Morgan-Moore.
It is my fault.
Right, well then, on the 10th of February, we had the Federation pledges resources to Aegis. So President Zachary Hudson and Shadow President Felicia Winters have united behind federal backing for the reformation of Aegis. Congress held an emergency debate after the Alliance and Empire agreed to support the official Tri-Superpower Initiative against the Thargoids. A majority of votes from Republican, Liberal and Independent representatives approved the provision of ships, personnel and materials from the Federation. Seems like Aegis is becoming flavour of the month again.
Oh, but I'm reading people get it is really Aegis.
Aegis.
I'm sure it's Aegis.
You say
though. The
tomato, I
designers
say tomato.
Aegis, so.
And then, of course, on the 13th of February, the day before Valentine's Day,
Yeah.
Aegis returns. The anti-Xeno agency Aegis has been officially reformed by the Alliance, Empire and Federation. Aegis was initially founded in 3303 to centralise research into the Thargoids as well as coordinate defences and rescue operations. It was disbanded in 33... the other side?
Oh!
3308. After accusations of incompetence in the wake of the Alexandria disaster, the subsequent findings of the Bowman report and the recent escalation of the Thargoid war and calls for renewed collaboration between the superpowers have led to the reversal of that decision. So essentially, they should have just kept Salvation, is what we're saying,
Yes.
right? Is what we're saying. Salvation was doing a good job. Then he did a little thing with a weapon. Things went a little bit awry,
Yeah.
and now they've had to call back the old guard and the old Dusties to come and make the
Yeah.
other stuff work again. And
Yeah.
now Aegis is back.
That's right.
TLDR.
That was a big. How many of you suspected this? Because I saw quite a few people suspecting maybe they were sniffing a little bit of Aegis.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were suspecting it. My question is, do we think Aegis is going to be effective? Do we think they're going to have an impact on the human effort to thwart the Thargoid incursion? Thwart the Thargoid is quite difficult to say,
Yes.
actually, Sally.
Yeah.
So,
Thwart.
do we think they're going to be useful? Do we think they're going to be effective? Do we think they're going to bring anything to the table that's going to stop the Thargoids,
I'd
basically,
like
who
to
are
know.
just moving in at will at the moment.
Yeah.
We are holding some systems, but not as many as we're losing.
No.
So, some says, I hope. Someone else says, Tyrion Dewell says, no, it will not. So, probably better impact than Salvation, to be honest. I mean, he had an impact.
An impact.
Someone says, Grog. Yes, sorry, that's my t-shirt. Thank you very much. Inflame the situation, says Commander Andrew Johnson. Zulu Romeo has a 51% stake in Salvation Olives memes, which is great. Osric says they won't unless the science of the community are doing is taken on board. Well, you need to listen. Aegis High Command, here's a conspiracy theory.
Right.
Aegis High Command is controlled by the Thargoids. Imagine.
Oof.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Okay, someone's saying, when will we be able to eat Thargoids? I mean, I'm not sure if you'd want to,
No.
but I mean, you can. Thargoid cookie, someone says, give us nukes. I'm not sure a nuke would be that effective against a Thargoid. I mean, we fired...
Tickle it, I think.
Yeah, we fired a lot of weaponry at Thargoids. I mean, we've got anti-Thargoid weaponry, and that does seem to be, but it's not nuclear. So
No.
I think we'd be okay.
I wonder if it'd be like, well, there's some... I say it's not mycoid, but another virus, like...
Another virus.
You know, like how, what is it, War of the Worlds?
Yes.
So
give him a cold.
the flu.
Give him a cold.
Yeah.
Give him a cold, yeah.
Because
sneeze on them.
That could do it.
So, Sally, I just want to... What would be your... If I said to you, Sally,
no.
look, we've tried the mycoid.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
No.
We tried Salvation's super weapon. It didn't work. What would you say is the next step?
Reasoning?
You want to try reasoning? Didn't Dalton Chase? Why didn't you on the Dalton Chase bandwagon waving the flag and you could have gone out there and...
Well, he didn't turn up, did he?
He didn't, no.
So that didn't... Oh, thanks for making me remember that one.
But
I don't know. Because you can't... I don't know.
You don't know?
I feel like getting to the communication stage...
Yeah.
That just sounds silly, me even saying that, but I'm trying to appeal to every audience member here.
That's. I mean, I'm going to be honest and say, look, this is not spoilers, by the way. This is just my own personal opinion on this.
I hope not.
No. This is my own personal opinion. I don't believe the Thargoids are friendly or ever have been friendly. That's my opinion of it. They've been around since the original Elite. They've never been friendly, and we can blame ourselves for trying to wipe them out.
No, but I'm not particularly friendly towards spiders. Right?
Right.
So, but that's because I'm a little bit scared of them. So, if Thargoids are very different to us.
Well, hang
so they're
on a minute.
little bit
I know
scared,
where this argument's going, Sam.
And so they're very defensive. And you know what I mean?
I have a riposte. Spiders, if they were the same size of you, would absolutely eat you. The only reason they don't eat you is because they're minuscule. However, they will still bite you if they can. So spiders are inherently hostile, in my opinion.
Well, all right, then flip it round. We're the Thargoids.
Yep. Well, we are on planet Earth. We eat everything we see.
Yeah.
Everything that is not as strong as us, we eat and consume.
Well, if it was just us and spiders, then. I'm trying to make...
These are the debates you've tuned into. If it was just us and spiders.
Us and spiders,
yeah.
we'd be the Thargoids.
Well, if we were the same size, I'd argue the spiders would be the Thargoids because they would be inherently stronger than us, faster than us,
but they're smaller.
more numerous. Well, no, if they're the same size as us, that's what I mean.
No. So you were talking about size.
But the Thargoids are the same, are just as big as us. Then you can't say the Thargoids. Anyways, welcome back to Frameshift Live, episode 26, where we discussed the merits of being a spider-sized Thargoid or a Thargoid-sized spider, and who would win that war. So what we're saying is basically Aegis needs to make a giant rolled-up newspaper or slipper to throw at the Thargoids as they come in. Yes, I think that's what we need to be doing.
There's a weak spot. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change the order of things. Should we do stellar screenshots?
Sure.
Not that I'm padding for time.
Is our guest running late?
Oh no!
Were you all trying to hide that fact from me?
I'm trying to seamlessly coordinate this careering.
Tom is in a dessert shop, stuffing his face with cream cakes, guaranteed.
Can you
100%.
see what I'm trying to do?
I can see what you're trying to do.
Professionally read courses, but it's not happening. Let's do Stella screenshot.
He'll
be here.
He'll be here.
He'll be here.
He'll be here. All right, let's go to Stella screenshots. Let's have a look. I do like Stella screenshots anyways, and there are some doozies this week. I had a look beforehand. So, first one here is Commander Dirk Hatch. This is very sinister.
Yeah, I love this.
Really like this image, the way they've done the focus of the shot. Also, really appreciate the name, which is a lot of homage to Battlestar Galactica, I do believe.
And Dirk is one of our new partners.
Sorry?
Dirk's one of our... Sorry?
I'm sorry. Have I missed a memo?
Dirk's one of our new partners.
They are, yes, they are one of our new partners. So welcome, and also amazing shot. Amazing shot.
It's great.
Next we have...
Oh, look at that.
These never get old though, like no matter how many...
They just get more amazing.
And there appears to be 3, what's been lovingly described as relics, which is the relics which are now green.
Green relics.
Proving very useful to certain individuals around the galaxy when you hand these in. You get quite a bit of rep and some money for doing this sort of stuff. So, yeah, the relics there. Good stuff. Well done, Commander Dripnificent.
Mm-hmm. More green.
More green. Now that's a Thargoid. Is that? Now I want to say.
I thought you were genuinely going.
No. I'm trying to work out the ship. I think that's a Conda, right? Is that a Conda? At an angle? As a vet? Sorry, I should have. Yeah, I wanted to say vet, and I talked myself out of saying it.
So close.
Do you know what? I'm going to get in so much trouble because Psychic again. They I knew it wouldn't be long.
She just said,
yeah, I knew it wouldn't be long. I knew it wouldn't be long. Anyways, there is a vet getting the good news from a Thargoid. Well, actually, no, Thargoid's having a little look. Just having a little look.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Is that a?
Just a little probe.
A look.
Little probe. Little probe.
I'm just looking at you.
Definitely not a spider either. No, it's not a spider. No. No. There we go. But great shot. Well done, Commander GB23611 or II. I'm very, very sorry. And if I've missed the sort of the wording there, I don't know what it is. But great shot. Great shot. Wow.
Pretty.
I have not seen this.
Pretty.
Holy moly! Now
I love how it's John Wick.
Commander John Wick. This is insane. This is really clever because it looks like the way sort of the ringed, I think it's a ring planet, ring gas giant in the sky is in line with the galaxy, in line with the other rings on the ringed planet they're on already. It's kind of like a compass aligning, like you see it spinning around like a Stetson, or not Stetson. Stetson's
that would be a hat.
That'd be a hat. You know what I'm saying? The sextant. Like a sextant, you see all the things aligning and stuff like that. It's really, really cool. I love this shot. Also, the colour, the blue is so blue. I love that. That's really cool.
It's like the, it's actually in game. The orrery view.
Yes, yeah, really, really cool. Really, really cool shot. Well done, Commander John. I can't see the ship. I'm going to hazard a guess. It's a really weird angle for us. Can you work that out? Because I can't.
No, it's even Adam's like this.
We're all tilting our heads. We could just turn the picture. We won't.
No.
Anyone tell us what that is?
It's just.
I can't work it out.
It's just on the side.
Can't work it out.
Don't know.
Anyways,
it's nice, anyway.
my chat seems to pause. Not sure why, but it's fine. It's someone saying Phantom. Yeah, I thought it might be a crate. Yeah. Of course. I mean, if in doubt, it's a crate. There we go. Crate. Yeah, there we go. Nice. The angle is technically known as jaunty, I believe. Thank you, Ascorbius. Yes, it is a jaunty angle.
It's not a Corvette.
It is not a Corvette, no. Okay, sorry again, all the Corvette players out there. Can we have the next picture, please? Wowzers.
Is this SAG? Is it?
I don't know.
Is it just the green?
It's just incredibly stunning. Black hole and all the stars around it, right?
I'm sure our lovely Zulu Romeo will tell us if it's...
He was the first to find dogs to travel to.
Yes.
Yeah, Commander
Black and Green Aussie. My favourite place. I don't know, is it? Well, maybe it is.
It's incredible. Do you know, it looks like...
oh no, Sage's pinky colour, isn't it?
I've never been.
I'm getting mixed up.
I'm getting Yeah, do you know what? Psychic, but it looks like an eye that's dissolving. You know, like in Avengers when the dust comes. Yeah, it looks like that. It looks so cool. I love that effect. It's really good. Well done, Commander Just. And the coloration again is stunning.
That's no moon.
It's no moon. Wow.
There's a lot going on here.
Commander Magma TTV. There we go. And that is an anaconda, right, on the pad.
I feel like
Please, but it's really distant. It is really distant. Yeah. All right. And also, they appear to be in the party station. Yeah. There's a massive party happening here. Clearly not on the front lines of this station. I love this though because all the colours, all the spotlights and stuff. It's one of my fondest memories actually when I first played Elite Dangerous is when you first go into a station and it doesn't load. You just go inside the station and then you've got all the lights and stuff. And maybe it's sometimes a bit of mist. And you come and you land and then you might have like the industrial style ones or the touristy style ones, and I was like, oh my, these are all different. Like, these are all different. It was really cool.
It was the what's it ones for me, the asteroid ones.
Asteroid bases, yeah.
I just wasn't expecting it.
No.
Like
Yeah, it's very cool.
The mining ones.
Yeah.
I think Osric. I think you did a whole bunch of. I hope it was you, but if not, if somebody did a bunch of screenshots of mining interior. And they were great.
So, sorry, someone just mentioned about the black hole saying it was like a space sugar donut, and I'm like, now I want a donut. It was lovely. Yep. Rexy says I love the potato stations, which I believe is the asteroid stations. Yes, very good. Yeah. And Ozzy says he did.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Can we have the next picture there? So there's Commander Promethean.
We know why Paul put this one.
I wonder why this is on here. Now, I like this picture for a couple of reasons, because you can look at this and look at someone that's either staring at the destruction in front of them being like forlorn, or they can be looking at the destruction and being like, I'm proud of that. I did that.
Yeah.
I made this happen. But it's a cracking shot.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I
Again,
really
that
like
little angle on it, isn't it?
The Dutch angle, the Dutch angle, or the Scorpius, but the jaunty angle.
Jaunty, yeah, making use of that.
It's a really cool shot. I love the silhouetting of the commander there. It makes it just a little bit more. I think that's what makes it a little bit more ominous for me, because you can't really see the commanders like any real detail on them. But it's a really cool shot. Well done, Commander Promethean.
That's great.
Oh no! It's a.
I'll leave you to handle that one.
It's a. Look, it's Commander Celine Star Dragon's very famous ship, the Anaconda. Thank you, Mr. Ray, for saving me there in the chat. It's a great shot, though. It's the colours in this which are just they're varied, but they're subtle. So you've got like the yellow, the pinks, the blue. The sort of the yellows, the atmospheric colours and the yellow in it. It's so cool. It's a lovely shot of the starry sky, and you don't often see an angle like that. So that's really well done, Commander Celine Star Dragon. Nicely done. Producer Adam, how many more do I have? I have two more. Two more. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, Paul did think to put in some pink.
There you go. Well, you can have this one then. This is Commander Sterling Silver.
Lovely. I love stuff. I love shots like this. Yeah, I think Bruce mentions them a lot as well, where you're not focusing on a ship or like it's something else, so an organic or a bit of the landscape or.
Yeah, I do like this is something that is often maybe sometimes overlooked in Elite is some of the organics that are on planet surfaces. But again, the way that this is brought into the foreground and obviously a tenuously atmospheric world. It's a lovely shot, and it's pink, Sally. So you should be.
There's
happy.
often a discussion on what happens to these if you pop them or eat them. What do you think, Arthur? Not filling for time.
All right. So first off, you're asking me would I pop one of these pink, delicious, what look like fruits into my and take a bite? I'd probably get Bruce to bite one first, just to make sure that there's nothing in it that's immediately poisonous. I'd be like, Garrido, have a little chomp on that, see how you get on.
What would happen if you did? I think they would. I don't think they're solid. I think they're.
Oh, you know, like a seed pod.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know, but like a gunky one.
Oh, that's even grimmer. I was hoping you were going to say something like a pepper, you know, a sort of semi like.
Oh, I know, with the seeds in the middle.
Yeah.
No. I think they're crispy critter says like a strawberry.
Like a strawberry. They look quite sweet, to be fair. I'm going to go Willy Wonka.
Oh, yeah.
And imagine they're like lollipops.
Yeah.
That's what they are. It's a lollipop tree. You just take off the lollipop you want, and it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Either that or it looks a little bit. I don't know. I don't think I would ever put one of those in my mouth, Sally. I'm not going to lie to you. If I saw that on a tree, I'd be like, leave it there. Yeah. Leave it on the tree. Yeah. Don't. I'd hang around and see if any animals eat it, and if they didn't, I would probably also not eat it. Here we go.
Got to lick it to claim it.
Wow.
I didn't see who said that actually. But,
that's how I got kicked out of Selfridges. Anyways, we should probably move on to the last image.
Yes.
Wowzers. Commander Zarion. I'm sorry if we got the name wrong there, but this is a Thargoid. Again, I don't think it's scanning, right? I don't think it's firing anything. It's just having a little look-see. That's the. But it's a good close-up. It's doing a bit of a PhD. It's doing a bit of PhD. The Orthus. Before it runs away. Who's editor's chat? Who has actually caught an Orthus yet? Anyone? Orthus. Do you know the amount of times before this came out I had to type this into a presentation, and I was like, I cannot say this. I can't spell it.
It's one of those where you have you just spell it different each time. I get situations like that where I've said it about.
Yeah, and the thing is,
6 different times.
The thing about the ship is it never had. I don't think, if I'm right, it never had a code name. It was just called that. So we never had like an easy name to use. We had to use this.
No, it was just that.
And it's very difficult. But has anyone caught one? And how did you catch it? And because I've seen a lot of commanders have tried to catch these, and they can be very, very elusive. They don't hang about when you get up to them. Someone's saying power move sake, something different every time and never run up to it. But that's kind of the sort of thing I would do.
Spiders have 8 legs. Thargoid ships have 8 arms.
Maybe that's what they are. Maybe they're from the future. Maybe the spiders they've had enough of all their ancestors being killed by slippers and rolled up newspaper. They've had enough, and they're like, that's it. We're going to come back in the future.
Not saying that I might have stumbled across a theory, but you can thank me when you find out that there's spiders.
I don't like spiders. I generally don't like spiders. I think they are terrifying. They don't require 8 legs. There's no requirement to have 8 legs. Everyone tells you that spiders are more scared of you than you are of them. That's a lie. If that was true, why they always will cross the ceiling towards you? It's rubbish. Spiders they're a menace, absolute menace.
They always follow a direct line, though. Did you ever know that? When they come out of their holes, they're actually going, and then they come back exactly the same way.
Do they?
You can watch them. Yeah.
Why would you want to watch a spider? I can think of nothing worse.
Told me that might be rubbish. Those are stellar screenshots. If you would like to be in with your chance to be featured in our stellar screenshots recap every other week.
How can you do it?
You can use the hashtag stellar screenshots on Twitter, the forums. There's a special dedicated forum thread. If somebody would be able to post that forum thread, that would be lovely, because that is a treasure trove in there. And Paul will
He'll go through. He'll pick 10 winners, and you'll each receive a unique the paint job, which is I can never remember. There's the shatter one. There's acid. I can never remember all the names.
Yeah, neither can I. I end up just saying shatter. But we do have a selection, so that if you do win more than once, which actually a good number of
have done.
Because it's very hard to. You could never just pick one from you lot.
Oh, someone's asked. That's the question. Someone's asked what station we're at. We're not at a station. We're not. We're not. We're trying something a little bit different. We're actually on a fleet carrier. We're actually on our fleet carrier. So it's something we're toying around with an idea that we might be doing something more of in the future. So we are on a fleet carrier at the moment. It's actually the community fleet carrier. So we may be doing or trying some stuff out. As always, we like to try and evolve the show just a little bit more.
Yeah. I don't know if they can guess what idea we have, but I'm really excited.
We can.
Can we say it? I don't know. No, I'm turning to you. I'm just going to go here and see if Tom's here.
Well, okay, look. So here's the dealio, chat. You may or may not have guessed this, but our guest, the very tall, very deep-voiced, sweet-eating, cake-smuggling Tom Kuehl, is running ever so slightly late. So I'm going to do my very best to answer some of your questions that you might find me in the chat.
Let's have a Q&A.
And you can always see what I can give away or not give away whilst we're waiting for some answers, see if Tom can turn up. So bless him, he's trying to get in. But this is the problem with a live show, ladies and gents.
Yeah.
We do have an interview lined up. He has got some cool stuff to not only talk through, but also show. It's about the sort of USSs, isn't it? I think it is. Unique signal sources.
Thargoid war scenarios.
Yes, Thargoid war scenarios. There we go. So if he's in, if he gets here on time, we'll go through that. If not, you're stuck with me. Right. Okay.
Oh, God.
All right. So where is the fleet carrier? I want to show you some behind the scenes. Well, okay. So yes, that is one of the ideas we're going to be toying with. Is going forwards. Is we're in the live game. So at the moment, we're just playing solo because we're testing something out. But in the future, what we'd like to do is get to a point whereby when we're live on stream, we can have a community fleet carrier and a community group. So if you do want to join us in the stream, or your avatars want to join us in the stream, you can be in the bar behind us. As long as there's no jiggery pokery shenanigans going on or flying past the windows in the background, we'd love to do that as we're on the stream because I think it's nice. It's really cool to sort of do that.
Yeah, to have you.
So that's one of the plans that we've got. Just one of them because there's lots of other little things we'd like to do.
Can you imagine, like, out this window?
It'd be really cool having us walk around behind us or seeing...
or flying around.
Zulu Romeo in his spooky helmet, I'm sure, would be present. The birds with their scarf would be on there somewhere. It'd be really cool to see that sort of stuff. But also, there's different parts of the ship we want to be in for different parts of the show. And I don't want to say too much because I think producer Adam might kill me because I have some big ideas. Essentially, we love Elite Dangerous. We love everything about it. So we're just big kids when it comes to it. So we want to be in the game. So we try very hard to get in there.
There's a lot of people asking about new ships. See?
New ships.
We haven't got anything to say just yet, but we absolutely know that having new ships is a great...
It's one thing you're asking for. We hear it all the time. We do feed it back.
Yeah.
So that's all we can say at the moment.
Yes.
We will feed that information back as we always do. We do know that there's a call for it and you guys want it. So we are passing that on. Of course we are.
Yeah.
I've missed a load of questions there.
It's getting quick now.
I'm seeing answers to other people's questions, which is making it very difficult for me to work in. Okay, so one of the questions says, when's the Elite Dangerous console portal going to open? So I am asking Dev this at the moment. So at the moment they're testing the portal, so working through what can and can't be transferred. So obviously, as you know, we now have the game in the version which is the live version, which is obviously on the 4.0 framework, which is why we had to pause the console transfer portal. And we did say that obviously we have to do that because the game will fundamentally change. So the team are very busy at work at the moment, just trying to work out how much stuff they can cram across. Because we did say before, it won't be as comprehensive as it was last time, but that doesn't mean we're going to try and do bare bones. We're trying very hard to get as much stuff in as possible. But what we don't want to do is then cut ourselves short on time, and then means you don't get as much data come across. So they're running some tests at the moment. The team are really hard at work on this. I do bring it up in the meetings, and they are aware. So I'm hoping to have some of these for you soon. Obviously, we have a big update planned for April of this year. So we're aiming to have it open before then.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Saw W Nelson 14 said, any updates on the issue joystick buttons 32 plus not working? This is still on the radar. We do owe you an answer either way. We absolutely, that one is still.
Yep. So this is supporting joysticks with more than 32 buttons, right? Yeah. So.
And it still does. It's still discussed. Yep. So we're not. We haven't lost that one.
Zulu Romeo says, can we please not have giant spiders in the game? I'm okay with that request. I'm absolutely fine with that.
Boiled egg or nest egg?
Yeah, thanks, Santander. So that was interesting. I did giggle to myself when that came through. For those of you not aware, I received an email from my bank, and the opening line was, Mr. told me boiled egg, ? Or nest egg. And I was like, I am personally attacked on this.
You didn't choose though, did you?
Obviously I'm boiled egg, aren't I? I'm clearly boiled egg.
Don't make me look at...
Don't make me look at your giant heed. Don't look at your giant heed. Right, yes, it's but true. We got a couple of people saying thanks for the drops. That's up. No worries.
Wait.
Ta-da!
Wow.
Now there's going to be some stuff going on in the background.
You're going to. So, you know us. You can forgive us if we pull up a chair and one of your favourite developers enters the room.
Yeah. So when Tom does come on into the bar area, because he's just docked his spaceship, so he's just coming through. He's just had to decompress. Once he's joining us, can we have some really hearty 07s for the wonderful Tom, who's rushed around really to come and join us today? And I know he's actually, in fairness to Tom,
you're going to come near
bang on time. He's bang on 5 o'clock.
Developer.
I mean,
it's never late.
You're like a wizard. You arrive exactly when you intend.
You call this.
I brought my own chair.
I'm gonna shuffle up.
Come up to
I'm
me.
gonna shuffle up.
Tom's here.
I love the way.
Is that
Adam, see how producer Adam did that. So he does not want to. He's never going to show up on stream. Not even his hand.
No.
He's never going to be there. Right. Okay. There we go. Have you got enough room, Tom? Have you got enough room?
Oh, I can leave if you need me to.
I got plenty.
There we go.
Tom, it's so nice to see you.
Yes, I'm going to lean back a little bit. So welcome, Tom. Thank you so much for joining. And I generally mean that because I know you're busy and you've had to do a run around. So thanks for coming and joining us today.
Thank you for having me. No,
No,
busier
it's
than usual.
Devon's Tom.
There we go. Look, everyone's waiting. There we go.
Thank you. Which camera? That camera. Hi everybody. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
There we go.
You're looking lovely and colourful.
Thank
What's
you.
your top one?
This is a Jim will paint it.
I love these are great.
Yeah.
These are great.
There's a lot of things on
Yeah.
But none of them are space game related, so I think
No,
we're
but
okay.
that's fun.
No, this is great. I love Jim will paint it.
1 point for each character they can name in the chat, I guess.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, this is great. This is insane.
So cool.
That makes me sad. That is sweep. That makes me really sad.
Getting exactly what he deserves.
Oh wow, wowzers.
The kids ask me a lot of questions about this one. They're like, "Why are they in the man, though?" Like, we don't need to talk about it, little ones.
What happens next, Dad?
Never mind. Moving on, and then the crops grow and everything's fine.
And everything's fine. Tom,
Good.
thank you for joining us. For those in chat who don't know who you are, can you please just give a brief intro about who you are and what your job role is?
So I'm Tom Kuehl. I'm one of the designers on Elite, and it's my job to come up with the stuff that you're going to do in the game, hopefully, and have a hand in getting it working and implementing it into the game as well.
A heavy hand, I'd say. You've
two
been around
two
this.
massive
Yeah.
hands.
Actually, my lord. Good lord.
I like the descale. Like we're like a volume slider,
sure.
aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, there we go. There we go. It's
I
fine.
look down on him.
Yeah, I look down on you.
Oh man, it's gone British culture heavy,
It has,
hasn't it? This
yeah,
one
it has
already.
gone, yeah. Well, anyways,
Yeah.
so welcome. So you got a subject you're going to talk to us about today, and we'll probably grab you back on later on after certain updates have been through, so we can discuss other things that you might have had a hand in, a giant hand in. Yes. So what are you going to talk to us about today, Tom?
So we're harking back to update 14. I wish we could just be like, and here's everything we're doing at
Update 14, Tom.
But we're focused on update 14 for now, whilst we make update 15 and make it fantastic.
Yes.
Update 14 shipped. It had to create a universe where humanity was at war with a hostile alien race, and we all had to work together to make that experience something that works throughout. So we talked about missions before, right? We've had some of those. There was a lot of those that went in that had to be very specifically war focused. We haven't got. I was saying to you earlier today, we need to get Curtis Griffiths on this stream.
Yes.
That'd be
sometime soon.
lovely.
Yes.
Who had a big hand in setting up the also
Another big
big-handed,
hand.
but did loads of work in setting up the conflict zones.
Yep.
And getting those, war footing ready, as it were, which I think is also I think a lot of our players spend a lot of time.
Yeah,
in
there's
those
some really
conflict
cool
zones,
footage
right?
of people around the conflict zones, especially ones over planets as well, which look really, really cool.
Just
But,
got
yeah.
some really cool
Oh, it'd be
locations.
so nice to have Curtis on.
would
We
be
need,
great.
yeah.
Let's get him.
We
Let's
must
let's
do
cajole
that.
him.
Let's
Let's
do
lure
that.
him.
Let's do that.
Is he upstairs?
What does it take to lure Curtis on? Because we know you like cake, but we haven't got you any cake. But I ate the rest of the M&Ms. Sorry.
I don't know. I mean, he is a proper dyed in the wool elite fan. So I think, if you offered him one of the ship skins. If you offered, get him one of those. Give him a
Sold.
still a
We're
screenshot.
offering our own developers their own
That's what we do. We
ships.
treat
give him
me
a page
and
job.
keen. Chat.
Good. Yeah.
So my big part in it was what we sometimes call internally transient scenarios, which player-facing is USSs.
Yeah.
I put a thing in my notes when I was suggesting
You
this. And we
did.
should should we have a quiz?
We should do this.
Yeah.
So do it, Tom.
Can we have a wrong answers only of what USS stands for?
Let's go.
Uninformed silly sausages.
Yeah.
I don't
For
know.
what enough?
Oh wow. Okay.
Underrated. No.
Snakes.
Snake.
Well, we've said spiders, right? So it's got to be something spiders, right?
Ultra scary.
I really love the idea.
Ultra scary spiders could be one.
I really love the idea that hoovered up so many spiders. They'd be like, you may have got us with the vacuum at home, but we're getting you in the vacuum of space.
You were travelling in, but you've missed Sally and I's theory crafting on that the Thargoids are in fact the ancient of... Oh, you heard it.
I
you
have
were
my
listening.
headphones on.
Okay,
I'm a
perfect.
good boy. I'm tuned in.
There we go. So we...
Universal
I gotta get my,
spaghetti stirrer.
I like that.
Wow, that'd be incredible.
So it really stands for unidentified signal sources. So the idea is you're picking up signals with your ship scanners, and it's a bit unclear as to what it is at first. And as you approach them, or as you perform a more detailed scan, you get a bit of a hint as to whether it's going to be like weapons fire, or sometimes in non-war situations it might be, lovely fluffy creatures that want to cuddle you, or whatever, nice things, or it might be an escape pod, or a distressed pilot, or things like that. But it's little scenarios, little bite-sized bits of game content that you can travel to and experience and then get on with your spaceman day. A nice thing about these things, particularly with the context of the Thargoid War, is we could do an awful lot of sort of passive storytelling, like setting the scene. We had all these stages that a system might be in its experience of the war, right? So in one, you might find lots of humans just going around their sort of regular business. They have no idea that the Thargoids are on the doorstep, but you might notice a sort of increased authority presence. You might notice Aegis ships starting to mass places, and you might sometimes notice a sneaky Thargoid ship here and there sort of playing around,
just
right?
Having a little look-see.
Just checking things out.
Just having a look-see.
But going into... I've got to get my proper player-facing terms right now.
You take all the time you need,
Hang
Tom.
on.
You take us on. You take us on.
Going into invasion state,
Yes.
right? We suddenly needed to get this idea that there would be like an exodus of people. So you start to get slightly different traffic occurring when you're just hanging out in normal space, and you start to get scenarios where you're encountering convoys of refugee ships that are fleeing the system, or ships that are being ambushed by Thargoid forces at the moment, right? So we're sort of building this narrative of what's happening at each stage of the war through the sort of content that you experience.
And it's a really... We had this conversation before, sort of earlier on today when we were discussing this, and I'm not going to go into what specifically it is, but the great thing about these things that you add to the game is that there's a lot of storytelling going on in Elite Dangerous. Some of it is very sort of is unsubtle. So there's the war, and obviously there's Galnet and stuff like that. And there's other parts that are very, very subtle that you will have to look for and see. But it is there, and some of it you haven't seen, and it's there. It's right in your face, but you just haven't seen it. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
I think sometimes players have to fill in the gaps, and in some ways that's almost the best way to do it, because you guys will come up with better stories than we could, or certainly better ones than we could present in a 5-minute scenario. It's always quite difficult to resist the urge to be like, we want to have like a bounty hunter that hyperspaces in just as you're about to die, saves the day, and then we'll bring in some sort of princess and she'll swoon for you, and you can rescue her as well.
Sounds remarkably familiar to a film I've once seen.
Do you think it would be lovely to have that level of like granular story, but then if you jumped out of that scenario and arrived at the next one, it would be like, oh, hero, save me again, please, because the same scenario is playing out. You'd be like, okay.
It's like Princess Peach in Mario. It's like, you're always getting rescued. I mean, have some bodyguards, something, do something. Stop getting stolen.
Better than the little mushroom guys, right?
Yeah, think about it. You get attacked by a dragon, mushrooms probably not the best defence.
I think that's the beauty of Elite, though, as a, I don't call it a game, as an experience in general, is that the blaze your own trail is still very, very much a thing, and happens with these. Like, we see commanders having their own experiences and making these off the back of those scenarios. It makes it so unique. Like, it doesn't feel as scripted to me.
Yeah. I think
That's
so,
why
right?
It feels like an experience.
And I think Ben is really good as well at handling stuff like this. So when we've got a fleet of AX ships and they're like, right, get ready for your next jump. They're never going, we're jumping into HIP 22460. They're always sort of going, right, get ready. We're needed elsewhere. Let's get ready to go. So they're always like really good at selling this idea that there's like a ongoing narrative to what they're doing, but without necessarily like setting up too great an expectation, right?
Yeah.
That's right. And then and off the back of that, then and we've done it several times, or Ben and his team have done it several times, is that they've worked player narrative into our own.
Yeah. Well, again,
Galnet and own narrative, right?
when you
That's
guys,
rare.
you guys come up with amazing ideas, right? It's a bit of a win-win for us, you know,
Yeah.
when we can weave it into what we're
all
already
working
doing.
Yeah.
together.
It's really cool. It's almost like, and it is how it should be, and why we talk about cinematics and then players experience things for the first times themselves. It's almost like all of the stuff within the galaxies. They kind of like not just extras, but like really well trained extras. But you're still the star. You're still in there, and but it's your own trail, and they're all here to support you in whatever story it is that you want to tell. Which is a really, really cool thing, which is why I fell in love with Elite. Well, the exploration, but yeah.
We have previously used the phrase around the studio that the galaxy doesn't care whether you live or die. And that is true to a certain extent. But I think you're right, you know, it's still important that players have agency to choose their narrative, to blaze that trail, right?
And I like what one TSR came, there's still undiscovered and unvisited sectors out there in the Galaxy Commanders. Could not be a truer statement.
Absolutely.
Like, you absolutely know there's a lot out there, isn't there?
It's a big old galaxy.
Yes. So, how do scenarios work with the Thargoid War then, Tom? Because now we're getting to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, so I think very early on we had the concept of the 4 main war states, right? And we knew essentially that we were going to need a certain amount of content in each of them, apart from anything, to give players the opportunity to sort of fight back, right? You know, they've got to be able to do that through assertive action. We knew at what point humanity would be, you know, cleared out of a system, one way or another, and we sort of knew vaguely what was happening in those states. So then it was a case of sitting down and going, right, what can we do? What can we build within that setting, and say what fits, what sort of stories fit that criteria of being interesting enough, like specific enough to be interesting, and generic enough to be able to fit with whatever the player's narrative is going to be.
That's so cool. So you're bouncing out again. You're looking, you know, analysing and working with what.
Well, and sometimes as well, it's just sort of looking at things that we have in the game that are in our toolbox that are
how to use them most
that are at our disposal. And just going like, right, let's do more of this because this was really cool.
Good,
you were talking about the Orthrus right before I came on.
We were, yeah. It was still a screenshot actually, Orthrus. So someone got close enough to take a really cool picture, which is quite an achievement, to be fair.
It's pretty good. I mean, the thing is quite blind. It's
it's got a particular way of looking.
But once it spots you, it's a bit of a pain.
It wants to go pretty quick. So bye.
But yeah, I think sometimes, you know, one of the first ones I worked on was I called it internally Capital Ship Rendezvous. And it was just based on the idea of like, well, capital ships are really cool. What's cooler than one capital ship? Loads of capital ships. And essentially the first version of the scenario was like, right, how many of these can I actually jump into one space before it's like too messy, the frame rate gets too low, it like stops making any sort of sense. And then like taking that as a cool concept, like will players enjoy going and sort of flying around and doing a bit of non-combat zone like defending of a capital ship and things like that, you know, a bit more sort of exploratory stuff with a capital ship, and then sort of winding it back and sort of paring it down until we arrived at the scenario that shipped with the game, which you have to, frustratingly, you have to go to a Federation or an Imperial system before you can find that one. Because we have to make it all fit with the wider narrative, right? So the Federation aren't just sort of hyperspacing.
They're not going to just help anyone with it. They're a resource, right? So they're not just going to be like, oh well, yeah, just for giggles, we'll just send one over there.
Just because we thought players might enjoy seeing this, we've deployed capital ships absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, Earth's been overrun. Doesn't matter though, because these guys are really happy over there. It's fine.
But that does kind of lead on to the second part, right? So you've come up with this idea and you've sort of implemented it in a pocket of space, and then it's a case of coming up with the rule set and saying, okay, it's got to be a system in this state, and it's got to have that kind of security level, and it's got to have this faction associated with it, and it's got to have those things. And quite a lot of them, the rules are fairly light. You know, it's sort of if we wanted to just have like an ongoing dogfight between AX forces and Thargoid forces, then it's like, okay, so long as it's a state where AX forces are still alive and still present,
it makes sense.
Then that's it. That's the only rule that one needs. Scatter that everywhere. And then you get a system, you can start then testing that, and you start to see your system is filling up with little dogfights everywhere, and then just like in that one system, there's like a massive capital ship distress call over there, and you'll be like, okay, this is feeling good. Too many dogfights though, so we'll wind that down a little bit, and not enough capital ships, we'll wind that up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's right.
And yeah, you just keep on looking at ideas.
I think when we first saw, I mean, it was on the run up to HRP 22460, we started seeing capital ships getting involved with Thargoids, and I remember that it sort of blew people's minds when they first happened, because everyone was like, oh, we haven't ever seen this before. And now what you're doing is just, with all the scenarios, you're sort of taking them a little bit further. Evolving them, I think, is a fair way of saying it, right?
Right. We don't want to overuse things too much, a bit, but also when you've got something cool, it's like we don't need to hide these, right? And I think one of the things that really drove me when I was trying to come up with the sort of the scenario generation was, I'm not the biggest combat guy. In fact, I had to sort of like find my love for killing Cyclopses. I can just about kill one now. Again, thanks to Curtis. He's sort of been training me up. It's been a bit. Got to get Curtis on, right?
Yeah.
But I had to find the fun. I had to like find the enjoyment, because it's not content I'm naturally drawn to as a player of the game. Besides being a designer. So I had to find the love of that, which was good to sort of add that to my bow. I feel like I'm really familiar now with the petal plucking and the heart shooting and all the
petal plucking. You make it sound so delightful, but you're murdering Thargoids.
Murder
flowers, yeah.
But also like taking things that are more sort of naturally in my areas of interest. Looking at that scenario of like, okay, we've got escaping refugees. So what could a player like me, who's like not necessarily going into these things guns blazing, what sort of action can we give them? So making sure that there are things like escape pods around, and making sure that there's, you can progress the war by protecting ships.
Yeah, so you don't have to fight, right? You can do other things.
I mean, you probably do have to fight ultimately if you want to survive. But your objective doesn't necessarily have to be killing the Thargoids, right?
Yes.
It's like I'm keeping people safe. That's my goal.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's quite nice to be able to offer to players. It's still a war, and we've still got to keep the content on theme.
Yeah.
But as someone said, the pew pew. What are the non-pew pew going to get? Well, they get to be the sort of the protectors of humanity. Yeah. They get to bring the resources, they bring the supplies through the missions, things like that, right? They rescue the escape pods,
repair stations,
they scan the Thargoids, they're doing all this ancillary stuff that is helping the war.
Yeah, and to be fair, it is a war, so you're right, you have to fight. If everyone stopped fighting, then the war would be over pretty quick, I'd imagine, because the Thargoids are rolling through quite happily at the moment, so who knows?
Someone's got to be prepared to pull the trigger, right?
Someone's got to be prepared to step up and hold the line for as long as they can, really, at the moment, because it's hard. It's tough in the front line, very tough.
True, but I hope people feel like there's a place for everyone.
Yes, I think so. I'd like to think so too. But again, and we're always listening. Again, going back to what you said before, there's always the stuff in the forums which the development team, which you very kindly asked us to do. So we're always listening to player feedback, and we always pass it back in. So there we go. What's next on your list? You got a whole list of questions.
This is Tom's.
This is my list.
Oh,
this is your list.
Okay, right.
So we made this one script to rule them all, and it's called I think it's called the AX versus Thargoid script. And the idea with it is it would be this really configurable script that would go, what do we need for a fight? We need a setting. So we built a library of settings. We said, okay, some ship debris, a wrecked capital ship, some other exploded ships, a Thargoid object in space, things like that. And build this little library of locations. And then we were like, okay, we need some Thargoids, because you've got to have something to fight, right? Mm-hmm. Do they come in straight away? Do they come in later? Are they already there when you arrive? Do we want some AX ships thrown into the mix? Are they already there? Do they jump in later on? Things like that. And started building all these variables that we could then start combining through the script in different ways. So a lot of the combat scenarios are essentially operating this one script, configuring it to be the way it wants to be, whether it's you stumble across a dogfight in progress, or you come across a shipwreck and get ambushed, or whatever. It all has it there, ready to configure, ready to spawn in the Thargoids in a way that usually works safely, properly. And it was great, because essentially then what we could do is we could go, I've been browsing around the resources and I've been talking to the art team, and we've got this new location. And now that we've dressed it up and we've added the elements that we need, the cargo and the spawn points and things like that, we can go, 6 more scenarios. We've suddenly got these different combat variables, and we can go onto the next location and make 6 scenarios from that, and the next one, you know. And as you add another variable, you go like, okay, actually that synergizes nicely here, here, and here.
Yeah.
So it's now 10 new scenarios every time we get it.
That's really cool.
It's
That's really cool.
really cool.
Well, and it's just got that nice thing, you know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure our players would necessarily like really absorb the difference between like an ambush that happens after, say, a period of time versus an ambush that happens after you've scooped a specific bit of cargo, right? Like they probably just see it as like I found some cargo, I got ambushed.
Yeah.
But we still have to make that.
Yeah.
So finding a way to do that was like really efficient and dynamic and you know expandable.
But also great, so it feels natural. So it's to the player in that experience, it feels like a wholly unique experience to that individual at that time.
Yeah.
Which is great. So I think it's great.
So that was really good, and that kind of, you know, again, maybe it's me not being the greatest combat guy, but that got combat out of the way.
I've watched your video. I remember watching the milestone videos with the authors and you trying to hunt one down. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot of
good
fun.
times. Yeah.
And it was every time we did it was like, is Tom going to catch
Is
yours?
Tom-
Is he going to catch it this
That was
time?
more of the focus.
Spoiler, he didn't.
I did not. Someone taught me how to get a proper, you know, dev-engineered Gauss cannons, and if you're quick enough before the anti-guardian zone gets you, I mean, it helps that I could also then just take the anti-guardian zone and be like,
I mean, you would
No.
you definitely had an advantage there, Tom. So just turn that off.
I did get one in the end.
You did.
Yeah.
Good. Yes.
Yeah.
I must have missed that one. Sorry, but I did
No,
see
it's all right.
I did see the 3 or 4 attempts before. But
But it's good. I think, you know, I appreciate that there are like. We have some incredible pilots who play our game, right? And they could fly circles around me. The fact that, you know, one Cyclops to fight for them is probably just whatever. That's a breeze. They probably don't even take shield damage, do they? They probably don't even have shields, do they?
without shields, yeah.
The ones that single-handed like take down Medusas. Like,
Yeah.
so
Good
when
on you.
those started appearing, I was just like, right, I'm done. I'm never gonna be.
Having a breadth of like player talent, again, I'm good. I can pick up a flight game, like any flight game, and I can fly, like I can take off and I can land. I can play the games and I can handle myself pretty well, right? But I'm not an expert, like not an expert at flying these ships at all. And that's quite a useful thing to have, I think, on the team, alongside people like Curtis who really are experts, because we can balance for their skill level, we can balance for my skill level.
That's a very good point.
You know, you've had Hannah on before, right?
Yes,
She's,
yeah.
you know, not really played a lot of flight sim stuff at all. So she's picking it up, but that's kind of been a fantastic opportunity for her and for the rest of the team to sort of put her through the ropes and be like, okay, what can we learn from like this
really
new
good.
player experience through her?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really good to do.
Yeah, I've only done AX hunting sort of once or twice. I found it was incredibly fun, but only fun when I was safe with experts that are around me.
Right.
On my own, if it's not an interceptor, a scout, sorry, then I'm out. See you later, goodbye.
Yep.
I think, where is this? This comment just now. Hopefully I can find it.
I'm really loving
Jax Rax. Hunting Thargoids is a skill. I've been trying to kill one for a while. Scouts are easy, but everything else ruins me. I guess I'm not just that.
Honestly, it takes time though. It just takes time.
You can
And
kill
familiarity.
scouts, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can't shoot anything.
There's a real art to it, and there's the players that obviously, and there's stuff you pick up, like shields are pretty much pointless against Thargoids. Really, you don't really need to have them. But that's
it's just a whole reinforcement you could have had, right?
but it feels so unnatural to if you've not fought Thargoids in the past. It feels so unnatural to have a ship running without shields because you think I'm going into combat and I'm going to combat without shields. This feels totally alien to me. But it's.
I think I've mentioned on previous streams though, right? Like a big part of the whole Thargoid war was making this whole aspect of our game accessible.
Yes.
Well, at least more easily, right? Not necessarily that you're going to fly out of the beginner bubble and go straight into the war.
Murdering Medusas on your own. No, and you're right. I mean, there's obviously the new module that's come out. We've got new anti-Xeno weaponry. You don't have to go and do the sort of the engineered tasks for. So that's really cool. We've got it in there. It does make you way more effective at fighting Thargoids, but you will still, if you really want to go hunting, and certainly hunting solo, you're going to want to get that Guardian gear because that is the best. It's tier 1
And
stuff.
certainly hunting scouts.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to be doing that on your Jack Jones. No. But so we go. What's next on your list of what's your talking about? Oh, we're here. Oh, okay. Oh, we've got some stuff as well. I can see there's stuff on here, Tom. There's
Oh, background traffic. Background traffic's one of my favourites. Okay, so
Good.
this is kind of more something that Darren did, but
Darren's in the chat,
you know
by the
our
way.
boy Darren.
He's
He does great things.
Yeah.
But essentially, again, feeding into that state system for the wars, right? Every different state has a different library of ships that will appear as the background traffic. So sometimes that's more AX fighters, sometimes that's rescue ships, sometimes it's refugees, things like that. But it's the things that will just sort of pop up in your scenario. So we do have the power in our tools to go, right, switch that off. Because actually, in this deeply tender moment between me and Princess What's-Her-Face, I don't want a rescue ship popping up going, I noticed you bumped yourself landing the last... Go away, we're having a moment. But
You kind of want that. That'd be amazing.
again, it's part of the, like, it's something we call systemic design, right?
Yeah,
Where you don't
cool.
necessarily design whatever, we're going to have a health bar and health potions, and it's all got to be very like specific hand-holding and do this effect. You just go, we're just going to have like food, and we're going to have your body, and like these two systems are going to interact together.
Yeah.
I can't find.
I'm
That's a terrible example, right? But
yeah.
but like the two systems can exist, and so long as they're true to like, so long as they function properly, they should interact with each other nicely. So a lot of our scenarios are designed, particularly within that combat mega script, they're designed to interact with the background traffic, sort of whatever happens to turn up. So when you encounter one in a different state, you'll get all the differences because we've got all those permutations of the different combinations of what's-its. But you might also just get a very different experience because in one of them you've got AX reinforcements that happen to have showed up, and in another one you've got a rescue ship that showed up. In another one, it's 5 Thargoid interceptors, and you're doomed.
Yeah,
Time to run.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's quite nice to mix and match that sort of stuff. But one thing we asked Sarah Avery to do is make it so that the rescue ships, which previously only fired their healing drones, magic Healy drones, they would only fire them at a specified, like, scripted target. So it would be like within a megaship scenario or something like that. They would target
be that.
to just if a ship has got over a threshold of damage, right?
Then
And okay, maybe like the threshold is high, but I also wanted this to happen a lot, right? Because it suddenly makes you feel like you're part of this this war effort, right? You're suddenly part of humanity's team.
Yeah.
And they're healing you up, and the AX ships will target you with decontamination.
I've noticed that. I have noticed that. Yes.
So you're all there, sort of scratching each other's backs, and you're all helping each other out. I was telling Sally earlier today, though, about one of my favourite things that came up from, again, from background traffic interacting with the scenarios. We'd made this scenario where, as I mentioned earlier, you scoop a certain piece of cargo, and then the Thargoids arrive as a, like, gotcha.
Yeah.
But I was playtesting that one, and some issue had happened where after, like, 10 minutes, something bad happened, can't remember. I fixed it, importantly. But
better, Tom.
But whilst I was waiting for this bug to occur, in jumps a rescue ship, and he's like, "Oh, I see you've bumped your hull." And he fires a little repair thing at me. I'm like, "Oh, thanks. I feel warm fuzzies."
For love.
Yeah. And then he's like, "Oh, I see there's an escape pod over there. I better go and rescue that because that's part of my natural behaviour as well." So he goes over and he scoops it, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder if it'll trigger the ambush." He scooped it. It didn't happen.
No.
I know. I was just like, damn it. So like ripped open the lure script and we're like, right, come on then, this has got to happen. And then I had to wait for another 20 minutes for another one to show up in the same scenario.
That's a way of showing how all the systems working in conjunction with each other create a scenario in and of itself.
All I had to do was hook the pieces up, right?
Yeah.
And now suddenly you get this really interesting extra wrinkle on that whole scenario where the rescue ship, who's just an innocent guy trying to do, good work.
Like the Apex cab drivers, right? Just out there doing their thing.
They're just doing their best, blowing up every time they try and pick someone up off a Thargoid-infested planet.
I've always loved...
For 100 credits. It's a tough job. It's a tough job.
I've loved how they're called wrinkles, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the actual term, isn't it?
I think
like
it's in our tools as well. It's like a wrinkle node.
Yeah, a wrinkle, yeah.
Don't know, none of us have wrinkles, though.
No,
that's all fine.
Smooth.
Spring chickens.
Smooth.
Yeah, so I think that's it. I think
Yeah.
that's the whole anecdote, right?
Yeah.
The only thing I ever feel bad about is we also then have scripted lines. So if there's any AX ships in the vicinity whilst you're doing that scenario, and a rescue ship comes in and triggers the ambush, they all berate the rescue ship. They're like, "What have you done now?" Like, stop! He's just doing his job.
Why did you do that?
Poor old rescue ship.
Just no love.
No love.
This one is interesting. It says demo destroyed refugee location.
Yeah, so I put together a video earlier.
We have it.
It wasn't my best playthrough of anything, and I mean, as I said, there are about 5 minutes of content, so like we don't need to sit here in reverential silence.
No, you can
talk over these if you want. Yeah.
No, I think that's good. So this is one of our settings, as we were talking about. Essentially, the script is running in the background, and it's generated some sort of combat encounter at this one. I think, from memory, it's a timed ambush, and it's on quite a long timer. But that's good for me because it gave me a chance to sort of show off the environment, right? So essentially, this is just a level file within the game. It's producing, it's spawning the ship, it's spawning some cargo below it. Excuse me, I've got a cough.
David, go for it.
You're fine.
Thank you. And I wanted to point out something we added new to this game, which is these canisters. Darren was watching Psychic play, and she'd found this scenario and was looking around all this sort of stuff, going like, "Oh, that's an occupied one, that's a damaged one, that's an occupied one, that's whatever," and was looking over all the cargo there, trying to decide what to scoop. And Darren popped up in our chat and said, "That didn't say occupied," or whatever. And she looked back at it and went, "Unoccupied? What does that mean?"
Dun, dun, dun.
It was a bit of a dun dun dun. And again, I think it feeds quite nicely into the point we made earlier about like, there's narrative, but there's not too much narrative, right? Like, we're not here to say how that pod became unoccupied. Maybe it malfunctioned. Maybe it ejected without anyone in it. Maybe there's like a little straw hole.
They're not going to be able to sue, are they?
Where they slept him out of there.
Oh, that is grim. Imagine it.
It's kind of up to you guys. How did they get out of there? And I just I quite enjoyed. Again, we just needed a space for you to do combat round, right?
Yeah.
You know, a bit of interesting geometry, a bit of interesting sort of visual storytelling, and then this sort of extra little item to just give you guys something to build your narrative around. And again, I'd love to find some use for them. I'd love there to be like some sort of unoccupied pod recycling thing where they like hose it out.
We can link up with that company that made that jet wash simulator game and just see if we can run that.
Perfect. And then you can it'll be like having an extra life, right? You've just got one extra escape pod.
It out. It's fine. Oh, this is grim. This is absolutely grim.
Sorry.
But that's great. I'm very upset you picked the crate. Tom, going forwards, can we only have feature the chieftain, please?
Sure. I did actually.
Everybody is in a crate.
I flew a Type 10 and a chieftain the other day, and I'll be honest, I was expecting like not a good time, but it's really nimble. I was quite impressed. The chieftain's a lovely thing to fly.
It's the greatest.
It is
ship.
But again, so I have, as I said, you know, Curtis has been training me up, and I've been very much relying on that for like a deep dive into like what is an AX combat build. And actually, I really appreciate you know, how many guides there are that our players have made, where they show you not just what modules you need to get, but why, right? And really go into it. So like, it's great to see they've understood the systems better than I have possibly. And it's great for me to be able to learn from that, but it's also great for like other new players to be able to like learn from that content that it's just out there already. Like it's done for us. It's wonderful.
It is great.
So yeah, I've had to like learn what I need to do AX combat, and a little bit of that has been like, Curtis, can you just set me up a ship, please? So he's a big crate fan.
But it's great the way that the dev team is like a miniature version of our own community, because it's the same for me. Like I didn't go into Thargoid combat, or generally speaking, actual combat for a long time. I spent time just in like what I called scabbing, which was I'd let the AI do a lot of the work.
Sure.
Then I'd nip in at the end and be
just
like,
one little shot for the bounty.
Just for the bounty, I'll take that. But then I'd go to different people's streams and look at different combat builds, different builds of ships. So like Flint always does like really cool builds, so he'll have the whole stats up.
Isn't it?
So it's really good to see that is just a larger version of the dev team. So you have your way of playing. So maybe you've said like combat isn't your isn't your natural state of gameplay. But so you'll go someone who's like Anthony Curtis.
I still like it.
Still like it.
I just find it quite stressful. You know?
It's quite stressful. It's very stressful. But it's great to see. Sorry, I've derailed a little bit there. So we've got another demo here. This looks cool.
Oh yeah. So Sally and I were talking about how some of the capital ship things. It's why I wanted to mention about how you've got to be in a federal system to see a lot of these, or an imperial system to see a lot of these capital ship scenarios, because they're not just deployed everywhere, right? So I wanted to do a capture of. This is another one. So this is another combat thing running the mega script, and again I've run it on the slow ambush thing, so we get a little bit of time to like explore around. But it's great to be able to sort of go in and just see one of our dead things. You know, normally you've got to find one of these in like a bespoke location, right? We have used these wrecked ships before, but usually it's associated with some sort of in-game event. You know, like there's been some big catastrophic thing. But we needed to do that world building where we were showing that humanity is losing forces. We're losing these, spectacular things which normally only die as a result of, enormous events in the game. It's now every other day.
I mean, they're not doing too well, but humanity by itself is, and again, these have changed slightly because they're now outfitted with AX weapons, so they are now more effective in combat zones. But one of the things that we did notice in one of the previous updates is Thargoids now have learnt about how to attack capital ships. So when at the start of HIP 22460, these capital ships are winding in and just letting loose and being like, this is great. But the Thargoids were learning, and then they were like,
foot, aren't they now?
And now they're like, oh, not so fun now, is it?
It's true. They still, I think, the live ones anyway, offer a brilliant bit of assistance in combat. There's nothing quite like having the heart exposed on the Cyclops you're fighting by enormous capital ship lasers. Like, thank you. I guess that's just scabbing on another scale, isn't it? Really?
A kill's a kill, Tom. That's what I told myself to let me sleep well at night.
That's true.
So it's fine.
I think with this one running as well, I wanted to talk about chatter. I wasn't paying attention, I'm afraid, as to whether or not the AX guys who jump in here are chit-chattering away. But we put quite a lot of work into getting them talking, and not just saying the usual lines, but giving them some bespoke text that fits within the narrative of the war. And again, not just a generic say these lines thing, but like specific to each state that they're present in, they also have specific lines. So when you encounter a patrol of AX ships in, oh no.
Careful, Tom.
What's the first one?
Oh no.
Where the authoress shows up.
It's, I don't want to say it.
No.
It's made me terrified. The first state.
In the first state, right, where you might see an authoress, if you encounter some AX ships there, they tend to be quite confident. And they're sort of, they're quite, they're going to push the baddies back, and we're going to protect our homes and things like that. And then as you go into the invasion state, got that one at least, as you go into the invasion state, they start to sound a little bit less sure of themselves, and when combat kicks out, they might not be quite
reminds me of Monty Python. It's like, attack, run away, run away.
No, exactly, right, and it is like when the combat kicks off in that slightly more desperate situation, they might not be quite so bombastic as they start the fight. They might be a little bit more like, we're all going to die, but let's die fighting.
Yeah.
We're like, okay.
But again, it's that very subtle nods to build the world that you're in, and to make it more believable, and it's kind of like you've mentioned all the systems that work with each other, so like the rescue ship turning up, the AX pilots coming in, and then the Thargoid coming after, something might happen, but then the chat reflecting that, and these are all subtle things that have been built in that work together to create this experience.
That's the hope. I think my only instance of chatter and another systemic thing not working is the way our radar works. So every ship, all the ships in Elite are the same, essentially, right? If it's an NPC ship, it's exactly the same as the one you're flying. I think there are a few edge cases where we've given the AI a module that you can't have, but honestly, it's probably just a variant of something you can have. They're pretty much always the same as you. which means they have the same radar system as you, which means if they fly off to the corner of the combat over here, and the Thargoids are over here, and they've fallen off their radar, they'll go, well, there are no Thargoids on my radar.
I've done it.
So,
We've won.
so I'll use my chatter for when there are no enemies present and go like, oh, if I see a Thargoid, I'm going to get it. And you're like, there's one over.
He's killing me.
Please,
He's killing me right now.
So every now and then you'll just get a little chat message pop up going like, keep your eyes peeled. And be like, they are peeled. In fact, the baddies are peeling them for me.
Yeah, they've been off my face. Amazing.
But and
That's
it's
fun.
the worst part is like we were just like, how do we fix this? And we're like, I don't think we do fix this. I think this is the,
But that's what
this is the game behaving how it should.
That is, if that was a player and the player can't see the Thargoid, they're like, well, not here.
It's not here. It doesn't exist if I can't see it on my radar.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's quite a fun thing with them. We kind of did these points, didn't we? We've got onto them. Oh yeah, okay. So some of our USSs are like very vague and general, like a convoy or a combat or something like that, and it is just sort of going like, here's the start of something, you end it, however you feel you want to end it. And then with some of them, we have gone for like a little bit more narrative heavy, right? Because we do want to push like a very specific start, middle, and end of a scenario. So the two I picked out to show off are. Actually, one of the last ones I made as part of this update, but one of my favourites, which is called Interdicted Convoy.
We got that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is essentially simulating some refugee ships in the invasion state who have been knocked out of supercruise somehow by Thargoid forces, and then they're here in a disabled state. So we've got some very bespoke chat. Written, again, tremendous work from Ben, but some bespoke chat for them sort of going, we're trying to restart the engines, buy us some time here. And with that thing of, I was saying earlier about like wanting to give players who do combat, if you do combat, you're going to get in here and you're going to murder the Thargoids and you're going to have fun. If you are not that into combat, you might, or not that good at combat, you can still succeed at this scenario in a way that helps the war effort. If you can get some shots on these guys and you can pull them away from the damaged ship. You're the bait, you're the kite. You pull them away from the ship that they're trying to target, and you buy the ship the time to escape. So you can kind of be the hull tank, take the damage, and then once that ship has escaped to safety, of course, the time pressure is off. Yeah, you can either run or you can sort of stay and you can finish them off. But it's like the pressure is gone at that point, and you can just like you can take it at the pace you take it at. Yeah. So again, I hope that's one that like tells a bit of a story, and it is a bit weird sometimes if you get like 3 in a row that so many ships are being interdicted, but like so many ships are being interdicted.
They are.
So
it's the way
it's the
but
change in
they're all
behaviours,
saying
right?
the same thing. I think that's the worry, right? We do try and put in a few extra lines so that there can be a bit of variation, but as much as I hate to admit it, it is a game.
Can we put in the line that says, I'm trying to replace the giggling pin? And once we've done that, then we'll be on our way.
I'm going to put a line in that's just like, damn it, Garrido, pass me the hydro spanner.
Yeah, great.
So that's quite a fun one, right? I quite enjoyed that one. And in a sort of similar way, there's the repair convoy. So building on the idea that you've got convoys of these ships in space, and you've got AX forces who are, as involved in the war as you are, and they've been in a fight and they've come out and they're all a bit messed up. So you come across this fleet of ships, or this convoy of ships. Some of them are quite damaged. They let you know that they're going to have some repair ships coming in. If you haven't encountered repair ships by this point, then hopefully this gives you an opportunity to sort of experience them and experience what they can do. I made the mistake of coming into this one with a full health. I think I ram at one of the ships later on so that I can get some damage, so I can have a
I'm testing for science. I'm testing for science.
Sorry AX ships. But again, there are points in this one where the Thargoids show up, and you can either kill them, you can defend the damaged ships and make sure that you're there to distract them. But if you're able to sort of hold them off as a group, as a sort of an entire scenario, an entire humanity, then the rescue ships get more time to repair the ships. The more ships that get repaired by the end of the scenario, the more you've helped the war effort, right? So you're getting these little drips and drops that are pushing humanity's cause in that system that aren't necessarily I blew up this ship and I blew up that
That
ship.
was one of the questions that was in the actual chat. So, does this affect the war bars, as they've been called?
The
Which,
war bars.
in my mind,
Love it.
it's just people drinking and discussing the war.
Do you remember the war?
Don't mention the war. During the war. But yes, it will affect the war bars. So you can do this sort of stuff, and it does go some way to affect the war bars.
Right. Yeah. So you can. Yes, exactly. You can just. You can do all sorts of things that help with the war. Every time we found an opportunity in here to create something where we can be like, that is a justifiable like aid to the cause. So like the escape pods, like selling your scan data, like helping repair friendly ships, things like that. You can get in here yourself with your own repair drones if you want to, and you can get the whole fleet repaired, extra super fast. And then you suddenly have this enormous combat-ready force when the Thargoids arrive as well, which is quite cool because they just absolutely annihilate them.
But just to be clear, what doesn't help the war bars is ramming ships that
that
are
doesn't.
already damaged. That's not part of the mechanic that will assist the AX pilots at all.
On the bright side, we don't really have the concept of negative impact on the war bars. So no, thank goodness.
Yeah, well, it's as well. But that's great. That was the last video, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it's great. Tom, again, look, thank you so much. I know you were going through that and recording that. Was it on your dev account doing that, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. But thank you for spending time. I know you're busy because you're working on some very special stuff at the moment. But is that last point as well? Yeah. Is there anything else you wanna add, or I wanna cut you short? Anything you've missed off? I'm not saying you have.
No, I think. I think that gives you a pretty good state. I'm sorry, I shouldn't fiddle with the microphone.
Sorry, I just watched you add this up to Twitch. It's fine.
But I think it's a really nice way to add a little bit of life and add a little bit of narrative to our things. I haven't, obviously we haven't highlighted every single scenario in the game here because you guys need to go out and discover them for yourselves. But I hope that inspires people to try them and to sort of see if they can spot the permutations, see if they can sort of find the opportunities to sort of push the war along in their own way. And if anyone is feeling like they're not wanting to engage in sort of out and out combat, I hope that highlights some opportunities to do it
in another way.
Yeah. No, it's great, and I have noticed a few commanders in the of everything you've been saying. It's like, this is really cool, like the insight and everything. I want to go and find these now. Like, I want to go and see all the different ones, and I want to.
Good.
So it'd be really cool to see that.
I have one last question for you, Tom, which is, how do you think humanity's doing? Are you optimistic for humanity? Do you think how are you feeling about it?
So I think the really interesting thing about the way the front line of the war works is our dedicated players can push back on parts of the front, but not all of it, right? Like the Thargoid force
right?
At the moment is huge, right? So I think the interesting part is going to be when there are points that they feel they have to defend, right? The Stalingrads, the no retreat points.
Yeah. Reminds me a bit, is it first contact? The line was drawn here, now,
exactly.
no further.
Right, exactly. So I think we imagine these the spaces around the maelstroms as being these big bubbles, but I think sooner or later they're going to start to be sort of crescented. They're going to have these big dints in it where humanity has gone, here, this is our spearhead. This is where we hold the line, and this is where we push in. I think we're going to see some.
And it is really exciting as well, because we've seen this already where like your players are actively organically forming groups, and they're going and defending, be it their own particular bit of space or someone else's, or a call to arms, or systems. We can nearly save the system, and this is exactly what we wanted. And as I said earlier on, we're only 4 months in, Tom.
That's true.
This is still very early doors of the war. I think that's
I mean, we're coming up to the end now. Thanks so much, Tom.
That's all right. Thank you for letting me waffle on again.
Was it no?
Not at all.
Did we see you at Christmas last time?
Yeah,
was that the last time?
So.
when you beat us in the quiz.
Yeah. Cheeky.
That was my fault mostly. I kept jumping in there.
Oh,
very
it was.
confident.
What did you
confidence.
do?
I did everything wrong, Sally. I did everything wrong.
Oh, it was multiple choice, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Where you
and
were
I just picked one.
Didn't even wait for the choices.
I know, but I'm glad you've forgotten about it.
Way to play the game.
It was a great quiz, though. I really appreciated it. It was a great
It'll be
stream.
the next one before you know it, which
Yeah.
I hope you'll join us for.
Sure.
So we got some cool ideas for streams this year.
I'm going to give a little bit of a teaser.
Yeah, go
I'm
on.
going to give a little bit of a teaser. So we got some really fun streams planned this year. It's, we're cooking up some special stuff for the community as well, which is a really, really fun thing. Me and Sally have got some ideas.
Yeah.
We've also got a lot of prizes for you this year. We also have, and I'm going to tease a little. I'm going to tease a little. I'm going to not say what it is. I'm going to say what it is. I won't say what it is. I promise.
Gentle.
All right. It's a monster prize.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
That's fine.
And we're going to, I think we talked about, probably talking about it in March in detail.
Yes.
But we have a monster prize.
Yes.
And I can't wait to share more details.
We've had it for a little while, haven't we?
Well, a little while. But it took some getting.
It took a little while.
It took some getting. So thank you. And we'll say where we got it from when we announce it. But
yeah.
Also thank you, Sally, for getting it.
It was fun. It's good. So good. So what have we done today? We've done plenty. We've been through the forums.
We've been through forums, been through some of the known issues. We talked about the BGS tick and addressed sort of why it doesn't always just all tick at once and why there's some little discrepancies, but there's a proper answer, a more in-depth answer on the forum. You can have a look at that. We talked about mission boards being fixed, fingers crossed, but I think it's all done now and we're not hearing any more bad news about that. There was another thing in there, which was our friend Hera Ferrari just being a naughty girl again.
Any problems with engineers, just drop them in the forums, and we'll have a little look.
We got the blower. We'll give him a shout and be like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Can you just sort it out? You've got a job to do.
Yeah.
We went through. We welcomed in our new partners to the Elite Partnership Program.
Yes.
Congrats.
And we've talked about how that will continue to grow, and there'll be another intake in April. We discussed how we will be adjusting some of the metrics for our YouTube creators that are going into the partnership program. I did see some comments in the chat as well whilst we were talking about partnership programs about different language creators. You will notice that what is quite important to us, and there are creators in that program that aren't English speaking, and that's something we're looking to expand upon. We are well aware of it, and we are doing our very, very best to be as inclusive as possible to all languages and all nations. We know there's elite players all around the world, so bear with us. It's only our second intake.
I was going to say there are more.
Not stopping.
Like it's not just a one-time thing.
We're not stopping.
The second one, there's another
but
one in April.
We absolutely hear what you're saying.
Still going.
We're still going. Please have a look through, and again, we'll start another intake for that. Anything else you had?
Thank yous to the mods.
Yes, thank you to the mods as always.
Thank you.
And for you commanders who join us for these shows and make it.
It's been a lot of fun as always. And Tom, thanks for coming. Like again.
Oh no, that's all right.
It's been it's been great, and I'm sure we'll have you back later on when we can actually talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Other stuff.
It's nice to do these live. I'm glad. Well, I assume I didn't slip up. So like,
you did.
No,
right.
you didn't. I'll be honest. You made me very nervous at one point. I was just like, don't say that word. Whatever you do, don't say that word, and you didn't.
I was expecting you to whip out the gaffer tape and say, like, no.
It's fine. Don't worry. You'll just be teleported upstairs by Lord Braben, and he'll just take you straight away. He's omnipresent. So it's fine. I guess we should wrap up then, really, and just say we'll be back again in 2 weeks' time. Thank you to everyone in the chat for tuning in as always. Please have some hearty 07s for the wonderful Tom Kuehl, who's rushed around and put together some really cool content for us today and discussed about how the magic works behind the scenes. So 07 to you, Tom. Thank you so much. Some 07s to the wonderful Sally. As always, you put together a bumper show filled with good content. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to everyone watching. And of course, thank you to producer Adam, who behind the scenes is always working very furiously to make sure that we all look and sound as good as is possible in my case. So that's it from us. We're going to be hanging on because we will be raiding a Twitch streamer after this, so there'll be some more elite content coming your way. But from us, until 2 weeks' time, 07, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.